Hey everybody, Gustavo Furman here, Into the Flow. Woo! Another episode, exciting. Haha. Wow, I'm so blessed to have this great guest in my show. What do you think? Yes, I know you think the same way when you listen to this. So the name of this next guest is Christopher Blackwell, all the way from Australia. Wow, he made the time to talk to me all the way from Australia. Yes, it was like 18 hours ahead of here, San Diego. We had a great conversation. So Christopher Blackwell is a frequency alignment coach, and a healer. He does it all through sound healing. Uses his voice, his vocal power to transmit some healing for us. Great guy. I had a really good time talking to him and finding out more about sound healing and frequencies and all that cool stuff that I know you want to know more about. So here we go. Next, into the flow with Christopher Blackwell. Yeah. Buddy, thank you for being here. Into the flow. I'm Gustavo Furman, and I am honored and grateful to have Christopher Blackwell all the way from Australia. Wow, that's like 18 hours, 19 hours ahead of here, San Diego. So I'm really happy to have you here, Chris. And I want to introduce Chris. He's a seasoned sonic frequency coach, alchemist, and healer. Wow, with over 20 years experience. Chris is also an experienced musician who has traveled the globe, sitting with renowned energy masters and spiritual teachers from India all the way to Bali. So you've been around doing the work, doing the work that is necessary.
Absolutely.
That is important. That's awesome. This is really exciting because I took a session with you last week, I think it was, and with Frank and Mike, which they've been in my show here before from the Perspective Chef podcast.
Yeah.
And I had a great session with you, sound healing session, and I came out of there feeling really good and energetic and stuff. And so let's start with, so the audience and the people here know what sound healing is. What's the main thing right now? How do you describe sound healing?
Sound healing, the way I experience it and express it, is that everything in nature is vibrating to a certain frequency or pitch. And sound healing is a way of harmonizing when those pitches, when something is out of pitch or out of sync, it brings you back into, there's a natural hum of creation that's constantly there in the background that I experience and that many people experience. And that hum, there's a homeostasis and a balance in that. When we are out of sync with our emotions or we're out of sync in our body, that hum kind of goes off pitch. So sound healing is basically bringing everything into alignment, like bringing everyone in the orchestra so that they're all aligned.
So you're like a conductor of...
It's like a conductor, yeah.
Yeah, you conduct. Basically, you're working with the already the energy that we are. Basically, just to kind of align ourselves to ourselves.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's great. I was watching your website. I was looking at your website and also your Instagram account, and just looking at different videos, and really very interesting things. And so, how I was reading that you've experienced this, I guess, this gift since you were a child. Am I correct? Tell us about that.
Yeah. So from a young age, I was able to pick up on energy fields. So before I met someone, someone would talk about them and I would have a feeling for their energy field before I would meet them. You know, was there warmth in it? Was it expansive? Even would I get along with them? I would feel that before I met them. I didn't know the word energy field, you know, because I was maybe 10 or 12 or whatever, but that gift was there already for feeling into a situation. So the energy field essentially is, you know, it is a vibration and it's sound and light, and it vibrates in a certain pattern. So I was able to pick up that, and that's what I work with now with the sound is with the energy field. So, yeah, but it started from a young age. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so did you ever feel when you were a child like a little different? Did people notice you were, you know what I mean? Because usually that happens
Yeah.
when we find our gifts when we're little, it kind of feels
Yeah.
kind of weird.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I think I had times of feeling popular and times of feeling very much like a loner when I grew up, and that my interests were different, and that why aren't other people interested in the meaning of life and who they are deep down and all this sort of stuff. And maybe they were, but they just didn't open up either because they're 13, 14, 15 or whatever. But I did feel like there was a mission in me to always know, well, what's the presence that's in the background? I didn't have the word presence back then, but what is it that can't be touched, that's always fresh, that's always new? And I always had that desire to go and find that place within. So there was a sort of an inquiry within. And so, yeah, I felt different, and wondered what was wrong with me at different points, I think, when I was young, like, why am I not just only interested in these other things, I mean,
Right.
so yeah,
It's a
yeah,
very, very unique things to be interested in when you're a child, and
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
kind of like not the norm of what all the kids are doing, and but
exactly.
myself as well, because I'm a professional dancer, and I do
Wow,
beatbox, and I do a lot of different artistic things. I've been doing that for 30 years, so I kind of
wow,
feel I do a lot of movement classes, a lot of the energy as well, connection to mind and body through movement and
fantastic.
dance, and
Yeah,
healing through that. And since I was a kid, I always felt that as well, that I was more than just a kid. I was more than just Gustavo. I was like, wait a minute, I'm like, I feel like I was a kind of superhero, but I just didn't. I was shy to like express it. I would express it in my own imagination, and because
yeah.
that's what happens. I think as a kid too, and having gifts like that is amazing. And so when do you actually decided to start like actually look into this more as a profession and a career?
Yeah, it kind of evolved. So I started doing, I guess, slightly alternative careers quite early on. I did astrology, studied astrology for 3 years, and I sort of read the chart pretty intuitively. But I wasn't called to do that as my main work. And then I was actually studying remedial massage, so it was more kind of sports massage, if anything. And then I was trading with one of the people in my class. You have to practice everything. And as a close friend, and I just started doing sound. I'd always done music and everything, but I just started doing sound. And he said, "Oh, something shifted when you did the sound in my body."
Ah,
So it kind of just, I was kind of just doing it playfully, almost as a joke, really. and and then he said, "Oh, I felt something." And then it just evolved, and I just started bringing more of it into the massage. And then I had a treatment where I wasn't doing official treatments of sound, but someone somehow knew that I had that I sung and did some sound, and said, "Can I have one of your sound healings?" I didn't even know that I was offering them, but okay, I said okay. And so I incorporated that with massage, and then it just evolved. And then over the years, the massage dropped away, and I worked more just with the energy field and helping people clear limiting beliefs. And then slowly flowed into doing it as an actual business, where I was, working mainly first with people to release traumas and emotional patterns. And then at some point, I was working with people, and they said, "Oh, the next day I got money back from the tax department after your session," or all these clients dropped in for me. So I started realizing then, I can help people release money blocks with this as well. So that sort of was the next thing that came in. I wasn't actually actively putting myself out in that way. So now I guess work with people with money blocks, business blocks, energy blocks, because it's all related anyway. And so sort of I love that kind of combination of working with people who are entrepreneurs but also want to shift stuff in their energy in all areas of their life as well. So
wow. So yeah, so there's a couple of things. So basically, you're
yeah.
a singer. You used to be you're a singer. You're a trained singer and musician. You played the. Am I correct? sorry, what do you play?
Keyboard, keyboard,
The keyboards, and you
keyboard.
sing
Yeah,
as well. So that you already have a good tone and good control of your vocal cords and all that. So that helps,
yeah,
right?
helps
I
with
mean,
toning.
versus like somebody that maybe they couldn't sing and they will try to do this. What do you think of the like? Do you
Yeah,
have to be a singer?
I don't think you have to be a singer. I think it's, I mean, obviously it helps, it's tuneful and everything. But, as I said to Frank and Mike, I had a Balinese teacher. He passed away, an energy master, beautiful, beautiful soul, passed about 4 years ago, and he couldn't sing. But when he would sing, like playfully, people would actually shake and move their bodies and even fall over from the energy. So I would
Mm,
say if you want to be an opera singer or then you need to sing. You need to know how to actually sing in tune. But I'd say for sound healing, it's resonance. It's
hmm.
resonance. So it's a bonus if you have obviously a voice that's in tune. But I wouldn't limit yourself, because if you've got the resonance, and the energy is going to come through anyway.
Exactly. Wow, that's great.
Yeah.
And did you study with different teachers? You mentioned that in your website. I think you study with different sound healer.
I've done different sound healing mini courses and things, but most of it's come. I spent a lot of time in India chanting with different teachers.
Mm,
I worked with, as I said, this Balinese teacher who helps you wake up the Shakti in your body, and they also have chanting. So I don't know if you know the Gayatri mantra. They're chanting this all the way through. So it's like Om
mm,
Bhur Bhurvaswaha Tat Savitur Varenyam. So that's opening up all sorts of capacities. And essentially what happened at some point is there's a there's two types of sound. There's the sound that you make when you hit something, like a drumstick hits the drum, boom.
right.
But there's a sound that they call the unstruck sound, where it's like they call it nada yoga, which is the sound that's there constantly, even without anything being played, even without a string being plucked or a drum being hit. And so that capacity woke up in me about 15, 20 years ago, where I would hear that it's kind of like hearing Om in the background constantly. So that
Mm.
hum of being, and so that capacity woke up. So I guess that makes the work more effective in a lot of ways, because I'm feeling the Shakti of it as it's working through. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I do meditations where I do and and so
Beautiful. Yeah.
I hum a lot. So I always
Yeah.
joke around with people. It's like, you don't want to meditate with me because I do a lot of I do a lot of sounds and a lot of if you
Yeah.
want to be quiet, don't be with me on meditation. But I just love
Yeah.
the frequency of the like you start with it
Yeah.
and then you end and
Beautiful.
then sometimes you just hum, like I go, It just it's a resonance, in the body and in the mind. It just and I do some of the. Have you heard of course, the golden ratio, which is the universal ratio that the frequency of creation. Basically, there's a sound they do with forks, or not regular forks, but
Tuning
uh,
forks. Yeah.
tuning forks. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tuning
Yeah.
forks.
Regular forks. Oh
Exactly,
man.
not regular forks, man, not after dinner.
Yeah. Yeah.
But with tuning forks, and it's just beautiful, perfect sound that it lingers, and then I just catch onto that, and I hum into that, and I do hum into that. It's just wonderful.
Oh, it's
Um,
beautiful.
so
It's
so
beautiful.
the there's like you were saying, there's a certain a frequency, as we know, God, or source, the universe, is a frequency, and there's a certain frequency that is constant, right? There's always
Absolutely.
there, and we just
Yeah.
gotta go and line up with it. We just gotta we gotta get get in touch with it, and find it, and attune with it, right?
Tune with it, absolutely. And in all religions, you said that you go. Well, all religions have got. In Hinduism, it's Om. In Christian, it's Amen. It's got the Shalom in Judaism, and Amin in Muslim tradition. So you've got the So there's something that they intuitively knew, maybe not consciously,
Yeah.
that there's this hum Yeah.
It just feels natural. It's
Yeah.
natural to me. Like it
Yeah.
just, um, I was watching one of your videos in Instagram where you had a group of guys,
Oh yeah.
doing
Yeah.
sounds, and I really liked it. It's because the, this whole thing that we're part of and the collective, when we talk about all these amazing things, and to me, which is like the truth.
Yeah.
And you are use what I when I do also my dancing, and I do everything that I do as well. There's a lot of women. All women will
Mm.
relate to this more. They're
Yeah.
more sensitive. They're more in tune with sensitivity from universe. In touch with themselves in a lot of ways. Guys are usually
Yeah.
very, they have a wall. There's you can't cry. You gotta be macho. You gotta like spit when
Ah.
you talk.
Yeah.
you know,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? You gotta drink a lot of beer, like in Australia, like woo,
Yeah.
drinking beer.
Exactly. Exactly.
But
Yeah.
but it's good to see a group of guys doing this, and there were guys where they were like doing it. They were shaking and moving, and their arms were open. But some guys had their arms crossed. They were holding their arms. That's body language. As a dancer and teacher, I
Yeah.
work with body language a lot, and that's where
Yeah.
you just still shy and cautious about what you're doing.
Yeah.
So tell me about that experience that you had with the groups of guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. So I had a marketing coach, Eton, who amazing marketing coach, and he ended up working with me and doing my program after I coached with him for the marketing side of things. And then he started inviting me along to his events. So he's a videographer, and he's working with groups of videographers. And he said, "Oh, why don't you come along to my events?" And I said, "Oh, will they be into it? Like this kind of thing." And then he said, "Oh yeah, well, let's just see, let's do it." So I just went along. I told them it's going to be something really different. Give it 100%, and obviously some gave it more than others. But and they actually really loved it. And a lot of people came up afterwards and said, "Wow, I really felt stuff moving through my body." And so I wasn't sure because they weren't people that were into Reiki and sound healing necessarily. Some of them may not have done anything like that, but they were surprisingly open. So it was really cool to work, because I normally work with women. Maybe like with your dance, it's mainly women. So I really enjoy that contrast of having a group of guys and going, come on, let's connect to this energy. It's really good.
Yeah, and I think it's because again, once you connect to that, once you're open, I mean, once you go into a class or a session or
Yeah,
a workshop, you already are opening yourself to something new.
yeah,
Once you step into the room, that's what I tell my students is that once you stepped in here, you're already a dancer. Like you're always been a mover, but
yeah,
now you're accepting it. You know what I mean? Like, and
yeah,
so they're kind of like open and they receive it. But I mean, I will understand. In dancing, guys get very shy as well. Even in the dance studio, they're like, okay, but because it's a natural thing. Movement, sound is a natural. It is the way that we should live,
uh,
the way that we
absolutely,
are as vibrational beings. And once you hit that note, right? You're in there.
absolutely. And I think
And
there's something beautiful about that combination of, like, I'm not certainly far from a dancer, but I do a practice called bioenergy shaking, which I've done for years, where you shake your body and, like animals, they shake when they've had a trauma, they shake it out, they release it. So I think there's something about, moving the body, and
mm,
then if you add sound to it as well, you can free stuff up. So, I mean, you
wow.
would understand the dance part of it
Oh,
better than I do.
no, and you know why it's
Yeah,
so interesting you said that because I love animals, I love cats. I mean,
yeah,
I adore cats and dogs, and I see them a lot. I notice what they do and how they are, and they are so aligned to source, to the universe, more than
yeah,
humans. And yeah, like you said, they shake, they do this, whatever things in their body
yeah.
to demonstrate or to align or to heal from things or to, you know what I mean?
And we
Because
hold, we're
we
trained to
hold,
hold it. Yeah,
yes, that
yeah.
manifests in sickness and disease. So what do you think of that concept of like you just said it, when we don't release it, um energy. What do you think of energy blocks in the body, in the chakras?
I think
Do they manifest into disease or sickness?
absolutely, yeah. I think it's. I mean, it might not start that way, but eventually it builds up, and it's like a certain amount of resistance, and it's like a dam wall in a river, and and the water can't get through, and eventually it's going to, it turns back in on yourself. But if you let it move through by shaking, by moving, by releasing that energy, then the you know there's a flow, and you have healing, and the more the energy circulates around the body, the more the body stays fresh and clean and revitalized. Yeah.
And of course, has to you got to stay with the attitude. You got to stay with the mindset of well-being, right? The mindset of joy, always looking
Yeah.
forward. I mean, that's a really tough thing to explain to people, and to even for me when I first started years ago, in this new reality that is to me the real reality. And
Yeah.
it's like, to me, it's like I had a hard time sometimes adjusting to, okay, I've this is going wrong, things are going bad now. How am I supposed to feel good? You know,
Yeah.
I feel good because things are
Yeah.
going good. So then I feel good, But once something goes wrong, then you feel bad. It's like, wait a minute, I'm not in control there. you know, like I'm letting outside circumstances control my moods. So then
Yeah.
once I study all this, and I studied a lot of different mentors, and I'm like, wow, I'm the one in power of how I feel. And once we manifest what we don't want, okay, it's been a lot of focusing on what you don't want for a long time to get to that
Yeah.
point, right? And you're like,
Absolutely.
it doesn't just happen, boom. I mean, sometimes with things will happen in life where they just kind of freak accidents. But so what do you think of that idea of how do you manage that as a person where you don't want to be conditional that way? With how do you
Yeah.
do
I
how do you
think I think there's different ways. Like, I mean, I've listened to, as I'm sure you have a lot of Abraham Hicks as well.
Yes.
And I think one of the powerful tools that they share, which I love, is going general. So if you've got something negative going on that's really strong, you can't always jump straight to the super positive. If you've just been told you've got, you know, cancer or something, I mean, I'm just using an extreme thing, or, you got hit by a bus and you broke both your legs, it's maybe in that moment not easy to jump straight to the positive, but you can just start going general. Okay, I'm here, I'm alive, the sun's out, I feel good, I've got clothes on my back. Everything, something's going to work out, something's going to flow in. And so that's one way. Another way is, I teach in my academy and stuff, is a thing called I call it the pivot process, and it's where when there's something negative happens, you allow, first of all, you embrace and allow the feelings and say thank you. You feel whatever the feelings are. Even allow the stories to be there. Okay, there's a story that I'm not good enough. There's a story this, there's a story that. Allow them. And then once you've allowed them, it neutralizes the energy because you're not in resistance. And then from there, I'm summarizing a longer process. It's like, what could I choose from here? But first of all, don't make a war with the difficult reality, because then you've got the difficult reality plus a war on top of that. So it's like, first allow, and then, okay, how can we transmute this energy? You know what I mean? So what could we do? Like, excitement and anxiety are the same energy filtered through a different belief system. Because if you're on a roller coaster, you call it excitement, but if you're having a panic attack, you call it anxiety.
Mm,
So it's the same energy filtered through a different belief system. Yeah.
that's so interesting. Just a word, just a label, it changes everything.
Yeah. But sometimes it's making peace first and going, okay, right now I'm feeling really angry. Right now I'm feeling really sad. Right now I'm feeling, and welcoming that first, and then you can flip it on its head. But first, the welcoming has to be there, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like you mentioned Abraham Hicks, and they mentioned that you're going like really fast, and then you're going to
Yeah. Yeah.
you're gonna go hit a cliff, You can't
Yeah,
you can put on the brakes anymore. You're already going down, down,
exactly.
down. So just like
Yeah,
relax, you'll be over soon.
exactly, exactly. Yeah,
And so
yeah,
yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. We use a lot of words as humans. We use a lot of labeling in words
yeah,
that gives us the like you said, anxiety. You know, it's like a
yeah.
word that is used a lot to, and then you just feel so negative about it. You know,
Absolutely.
and just changing the wording. Um, for example, myself, I had to because I grew up in a religious society. I'm Latino, so
Oh wow.
Catholic,
Catholic.
and then
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, and then I became evangelical and all that, and it kind of affected me a lot,
yeah,
growing up in that environment with a lot of you're a sinner and you're no good and that kind of
yeah,
thing. I'm like, wait a minute, I don't like that's just it just doesn't resonate, doesn't feel good, and so I had to change the word praying, like praying, right, to like asking and receiving or to meditating, even meditating,
yeah,
it
yeah,
changes the whole concept beliefs of praying has a lot of conditioning in there, a lot of resistance to me, please help
yeah,
me, like please, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a sinner. Please, like
yeah,
that's the way I used to like talk to the universe,
yeah,
please
yeah,
help me, please, 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 and now it's like guide me and direct me to who I am, or you know assist me to allow who I am, or things that are easier, right? What do you think
yeah.
of that aspect on?
Yeah, totally. I think, I mean, I grew up Christian, not Catholic, but well, my mum was a Christian, my dad was an atheist, but
Oh,
even from
yeah.
the even there's a good combo, even from the small amount of church that I went to, and they weren't fundamentalists, but there was, it's in the air. I think that thing in Western cultures, that thing of you're separate from God, within especially if you grow up Christian, you're separate from God, and how dare you ask for this, and how dare you think that you're, worthy of this because you're just this little thing. So I think there's something in that. So moving from praying, like you said, in the normal sense, to opening up to receiving feels like a gentler energy to me, or
Yes.
kinder, or less separate. Yeah.
And so how do you treat, or with now is how do you work with different cases? For example, you were mentioning the blocks of energy for the money, blocks
Yeah.
of energy on relationships, on everything is the same at the end of the day, but people think they're all different. And so how do you work with that?
Yeah, I mean, so I might do specific clearings, for example, if I'm working with someone with the area of money, I might do specific areas to release belief systems that I see that they're holding around money, or around health or whatever. But by the same token, we could be working with something connected with someone's mother that happened at the age of 5, releasing a pattern around there, and then that could affect their mother, their money situation, even though they're not obviously related. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like some things don't seem, well, how's that got to do with that? But the fact is that when their mother said this at the dinner table, they closed down, and then that closing down stopped them feeling they were lovable enough to receive, and then they didn't let money in. So they might not be an obvious link, but when you actually start seeing it, there's a chain of events that happen from one thing. So, but yeah, each person's completely different, and I'm always working directly with the energy field, so I don't go in with a preconceived plan of what they need, because in the moment it starts revealing itself what specific things they need to release, and what we need to release in a session. Yeah.
And so that's when you work with people one on one, right? Like you have that. Of course, when you work
Yeah.
with them one on one, they'll tell you what they want to work on, what their issues are. But
Yeah.
when you have a group, do you read the energy of the group in a
Yeah.
different way?
So it's basically the same sort of skill set I'm using, except one is obviously, I'm just going deep with one person, but in a group, I'm I'm reading the field, and then the field is just pulling from me the answers that are needed for the group. Or there might be a clearing that relates to half the people in the group, or maybe maybe it relates to 4 people in the group. Maybe it relates to everyone, but the energy just comes through in the way that serves the most people. It's not a conscious thinking process. It's just in the flow, it comes through. So it's like, okay, that's what we're doing next. Oh, okay, now we're going to release that. Okay, now we're moving into that. Now we need to do some sound. So it's become very organic. I've studied different things, but it's now a very fluid and organic process.
Nice. And so you work, of course, with the breath, as everything is the breath. I mean, in my
Yeah,
in dancing and moving and music, everything is breath. So do you
yeah,
have to teach people how to breathe first? Because no, like a lot of people, all of us didn't know how to breathe. I'm
yeah,
told,
yeah,
like, so do
yeah.
you teach them that?
Look, I'm not a breathwork teacher per se. I haven't trained in breathwork, but I'm very aware of the breath. So oftentimes I'll get people to take slow, deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. But there's all different kinds of breaths, and I'm not saying one is the right one and one is wrong, and there's all different types of breathing processes that you can do. But yeah, to really, really make sure, because obviously if they're holding the breath, they're going to be holding the pattern. Like, I don't want to feel that, I don't want to let that go. But if they start breathing more deeply, yeah, so it's an adjunct. As I said, I'm not a breath worker, but I incorporate elements of that because it's the breath.
It is a given. It's just there. It's part
Yeah.
of it. So again, going back to the different issues, let's say money, because money is a big thing,
Mm,
and in between all humans, and it's like we separate money from us, and it's like this kind of like a beast on his own.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, so the idea of money is to be one with the energy of of the frequency of money, because there's a
Yeah.
frequency. The
Yeah.
spirit, if you want to call it, I call it spirit of money. You know,
Yeah.
money and I are best friends, man. We hang out. The spirit of money. Like I
Yeah.
feel kind of like
Exactly.
I kind of
I
get,
love
I
it.
kind
Yeah.
of,
Yeah.
I relax with money. I'm like, hey man, how you doing, man? Let's do this together. Come on.
I
But
love it.
uh,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So again, there you go. We have to change the wording of it, but it's a frequency that we have to get in there, right? It's, as soon when you're doing sound healing, you get into that a frequency. Would I- is it correct to say maybe you can line up to a frequency of money when you're doing sound healing?
Yeah, absolutely. And, it's a kind of a combination of the energy clearings that we do when I pick up beliefs and release it. But a lot of it is just the vibrational shift from the person I'm working with being open, receiving the sound, and the sound is realigning the energy centers and the meridians and the chakras. And so often, like I said, people will say, "Oh, after I worked with you, all these clients popped in out of the blue, or I met this key person out of the blue," or, I've had probably 5 or 10 people say they had money back from the government out of the blue, or thought they owed money on something. One lady had a healing centre, or has a healing centre in Brisbane. She thought she owed money. She was paying off this, it was like a DNA frequency bed that cost 20 or 30 grand, and she was paying it off 2 grand a month. After the session with me, they called her and said, "Oh, we owe you $12,000 and you don't owe anything more." So it's kind of like these things are already there in people's vortex, or they're already there at a vibrational level, but the energy work speeds up the process so they're aligned with it so that it can flow in.
Nice. So
I think that's the
basically,
best way of describing it. Yeah.
it's a good way to describe it because basically they have no resistance there, or they have very minimal resistance. So
Yeah.
the abundance, which is always flowing, just comes in. Am I
Yeah.
correct? It will
Absolutely.
be
And look, absolutely. And the less resistance people have, the quicker it flows in. Like, Mike might have shared with you or shared on a podcast, that I did a 15-minute session with him, and he normally sells 6 houses in a year with real estate, and he sold 6 in a week or something. So, so, but that's because that's not. It's a combination of the work I'm doing and his lack of resistance. Because, if someone's gonna sit there like this and go prove it to me, it's like nothing can yep, yes, they'll get some benefit, but nothing much is going to penetrate. Whereas if someone is like, has the attitude that this is going to work, or I'm open to this, it's so much more powerful what it can do. Yeah.
Oh, so basically the person has to be open already. The person has to be ready. You can't
That,
change somebody that's not ready or help.
it might be new for them, it might be strange for them, all that's cool, but there just has to be a bit of the door has to be open to I'm gonna give this a go. This is out of my comfort zone. I've never done this before. That's cool, but there has to be some. It's like two wires. They have to meet. You know what I mean? To create So yeah, that's what I would. That's what I would say. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, yeah, being ready, but also like I was thinking, some people depends on the personality. Some people are they have a lot of noise in their minds and they're very quick. Like one of my friends here in Los Angeles, he's a comedian, he's a sportscaster. He has this TV show where he's, talking about
Yeah.
sports and football it's very smart. It's very smart,
Yeah.
really good at talking, like just fast. But he can't. He told me he couldn't meditate. There's no way he could do it. His mind would not allow him. You know, um,
Yeah.
what he needs is to basically smoke a lot of pot, right? To like
Oh
calm
yeah.
down,
Yeah. Yeah.
to calm
Yeah.
down a little bit. And how do you? I mean, I don't know. Let's say you have one of those guys coming to you a session with you. Let's say I bring him to one of your sessions. How do you
Yeah.
deal with that with him? Because yeah, how would you deal with him?
It's very, very in the moment. You know what I mean? I'd have to see what arose in the moment because all I'm looking for is basically a space to open. That's all I'm looking for in a session. I'm not consciously saying I'm looking for a space, but that's basically it. I'm looking for a space so that that energy can get in. And if I can't go through that way because someone says there's a block there or says that's not working, that won't work, then I have to try to go round the corner or find a way in. So usually I try to let people know that wherever they're at is okay. And what if they could just receive 3-5% of this? Are you open to have a small shift? Because people might feel like, oh, I have this big pressure to have the same shift that Mike had or Gustavo had or this person had who are really ready for it. But it's like letting them know that they can have their own experience. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that'd
also,
be so.
and also, I would say that there's some people that are aligned to work with some people, and there's some that aren't. So there just has to be a foot in the door, like going, I'm open to this, and then I can work with someone. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess, like I said, let's say my friend will come with me, that's already a step ahead, a step
Yeah.
forward that he's doing. You
Yeah.
know, yeah, that's kind of the first step, and then after that, energy starts moving maybe a little bit.
Absolutely. And also, some people will, work with me say for 3 months or in a group program, or they'll work one-on-one, and everyone's different. So for some people, stuff will start manifesting before we even have the first session. For some people, we're planting seeds, and those seeds will start manifesting at the 1 month mark or the 2 month mark. There's no cookie cutter approach because everyone's different and everyone's desires are different and their temperament's different and how much they're allowing in is different. So it's, someone could have a massive shift after 3 months, seemingly nothing happened, and then boom, because we're planting seeds. So it's. And then other people are like Mike, straight after the session, boom, 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 or Frankie found his ideal house, you know what I mean? And
So
these
he
guys
he
are already,
Right.
yeah,
Sorry to interrupt, but yes, I agree with that 100%. They already are in the frequency of abundance. They already understand it,
yeah,
right? And
yeah,
so it's a little easier and faster for them to
yeah,
manifest, or because
yeah.
Frank manifested a house. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
he found this idea. Well, he was working with my activation meditations and workbook, and he was using them consistently, which is always good, And and then he found the house that he was he wanted for 20 years. It just sort of a series of events came up, and someone was leaving that house, and then they were able to sell theirs easily, and so
And it's
yeah,
amazing because, Abraham Hicks also, they said, if it doesn't land on your lap, you're working too hard.
yeah, exactly.
You know,
Effort in replacement, effort to try to replace lack of alignment. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So
yeah,
that's one of those examples. It's like a lot of things happened to me that way, where it's just kind of landed, because I was open, it was open to receive,
yeah.
and
Beautiful.
versus complaining or being sad that it hasn't happened, or so
Yeah,
things like that. I just love things. I just love manifestations like that, and
yeah.
just so
It's
so so easy.
beautiful.
It's like, oh, I can't believe. You want to say I can't believe it. That's something I've changed to. I say I believe it.
Yeah,
I believe
so
it.
good.
Totally. Oh yeah, of course.
I
Instead of say,
believe.
yeah, exactly, exactly,
Amen.
exactly. um,
I was going to say also that there's one thing that I see which makes such a big difference is that when people come to me with the energy of I need you to fix me, I need you to fix my life, it's really well intended because people feel broken, they feel like they want to be fixed. It actually slows the process down from someone going, I know I'm supposed to be working with this person and I'm going to let the process unfold. I'm going to let the results unfold. Because this whole idea that we're broken and I'm going to fix someone, I don't have the power to fix someone. I can hold a specific frequency that I've embodied to the degree that I've embodied it, and then they can resonate to that frequency. But it's about each person stepping up and becoming a leader themselves, not being fixed, And so it seems like a small thing because you're like, I'm in trouble, I need to be fixed. That's the natural way of thinking. But it's really retraining it that you're the one with the power. Like if you have a really good teacher and you're struggling and they actually empower you, like they're like, you've got this, I know you can do this. And then at the end, you've got those tools yourself. So that's just, I don't know why, I just wanted to throw that into the mix.
it's perfect. It's perfect because I saw one of your videos on Instagram that you were actually mentioned that the power is within already, and you're just a facilitator. You're a guide to guide them
Yeah,
into it. I'm a guide as well when it comes to dancing,
exactly.
movement, and whatever else I'm doing. It's like we're guiding them to find or to who they are, to be in touch with who they really are already, and
Absolutely.
that's a big difference than trying to fix. That's
Yeah.
why I think don't want to put therapists down because they are, they're good,
Yeah,
but
of
but
course.
therapy in a lot of ways, you can be I've been seeing my therapist for 20 years. Like we like 20 years, like it doesn't go anywhere because
Yeah.
I'm sitting down to get help from somebody, and I don't know
Yeah.
what to do, and it's just different than what you just mentioned. When you mention
Yeah.
is you help them and guiding them to find who they are and to get in touch with their inner power.
Exactly. And
So
if you're just cycling around that same thing, like you can in therapy, and there's amazing therapists and amazing
yeah, yes,
psychiatrists
yeah,
out there, so I'm not putting that profession now. But if you're just cycling around the same thing and talking about the same problems and going around the same stories, then you're going to get the same biochemistry, the same feeling, and you're going to keep. Now, I'm sure there's very skilled intuitive therapists that are able to cut that, but as
yeah.
a rule, it kind of often keeps people stuck. Yeah.
Right, and it's again, you're talking about focusing on the same narrative, the same mentality that will attract the same thing,
Yeah.
and it's a very simple thing to understand, very hard. Actually, I would say, like when I first started listening to Abraham Hicks and a lot of other teachers, it kind of like it makes so much sense right off the top because I was hungry for it. You know,
Yeah.
religion and all that kind of stuff didn't do it for me. I'm like, there's more than that. This life is more than that. So when I found it, it was like click. Oh
Yeah.
wow, this is it. And but
Yeah.
other people would have a resistance towards that idea of like, wait a minute, I need to. what's the word, vent. Like venting is not a good thing, because venting, you're recycling and saying the same thing over,
Yeah,
complaining, which the energy doesn't flow. It stays in the same spot, right? Is
yeah,
that
absolutely.
basically what you're saying there? Is
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there's obviously a place if someone's sort of in trauma and they need to just cry or have a release or something, but staying endlessly in the same story is going to just give you the same results, right? It's like, and then this happened, and then my mother did this, and then that, and that's why I'm like this, and they're all perfectly valid and to say it, but it does keep you in the same loop until it's like you possibly heard of Bashar.
yes, I
And
listen to him a lot.
love Bashar. And they
Me
say you
too.
can't have an experience without a definition. You
Hmm.
can't have an emotion or an experience of something without, in a sense, without a definition. So if your definition is that everyone's trying to steal from me and no one's trustworthy, and you keep playing that around, then you're gonna like, oh God, someone's gonna steal from me. What's up?
And they
But
will. Something will happen when somebody will steal from you.
yeah, well, it's always those things of, it's like a friend of mine was always, I remember years ago, and he was always worried about people stealing from him, and he'd put double locks on his bike, and then people would come along with bolt cutters, and my
and they,
bike would be sitting there with nothing, and it'd still be there, so
and
it's,
they call
but
you lucky. You're lucky.
yeah,
You're
yeah, you're
lucky.
lucky,
You're lucky
exactly.
bastard. You're
Exactly.
lucky. That happens to me too, when things just work out for me so nice. And my friends always like, "You're just so lucky. You gotta." What is that saying they're always saying? There's a saying that I always can't forget now, but it's like, everything always just happens to you. You're just so lucky. I'm like, I'm blessed. I changed that wording to I'm lucky. I'm blessed. Yeah, I
I
am.
like
I
that.
am.
I
I'm
like
blessed.
that.
And I'm
Yeah.
always taken care of. And like, it's just changing the wording. But so we have a few minutes left, and I want to do, if you're into it, to do like a really quick demonstration how you do a
Sure.
sound healing. And there's one request that I have, and I don't know if we can do it, but if it's gonna be okay, because I love to you do your thing, right,
Yeah.
with me a little bit, and I want to do another, because I like to do sounds as a background when I work with music and dancing.
Yeah.
So I do some kind of sounds that coming from within, that complements the frequency that we're working on. And I like to kind of practice that, do that a little bit with you, see if it
Sure.
works.
Let's do it.
So let's do one with just you doing it.
Yep.
I'm just gonna be your
Yep.
your 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 student here. Then after
Yep.
that, we're just gonna collaborate a little bit, see if the audience that's listening will resonate with something with them.
Beautiful. And you've got original sound on you.
Do I have original sound?
You have to have original sound on, or the sound will cut out.
Oh, okay. So let me. Oh, right.
You'd have to go into settings. Settings, I think it's sound or advanced, and then you'll need to put. Otherwise, yeah, the sound will
Ooh, really?
cut
Okay. Now
out.
that might be too advanced. I didn't prepare it. I didn't prepare it. I should have thought of that. But
That's
so
okay.
what?
That's okay.
You know what it means. You know what this means. That means that we're gonna have part two.
Part two. I'm in. I'm in.
When you come back and do it. Um, I want to make sure that I want to do that. It's called the
Yeah.
original sound, right? So I can hear you. Am I correct? So I can hear
It's
your
called
music.
original sound. So you can even put it into ChatGPT and just say how to turn on original sound for music. I can do it now, but I guess we're on the podcast, so I don't know if you want me to test it now. But it's called original sound for musicians, and you have to set it up in the settings, and then it'll come up on the display, and then you just put original sound on.
Okay. I will look into that for
Yeah,
to do it. And then so right now, I think that the best thing to do, I guess, it would be for people to tell them where they can find you. I know you have Instagram and a website. And what
yeah,
else?
yep. So they can go onto my website, Instagram. I've just started an academy, an online academy, and I have a special founders rate at the moment because it's just started. And if I have a link that I can send you for that, or if people just want to jump on a call and feel that they resonate with what I do, and they're not sure what service to that aligns with them, they can just jump on the call for a chat, so I can give you a link after this to all that. Yeah.
Sure, like send me the link um,
Yeah.
on Instagram, and I'll put it on the of all
Yeah.
your links on the bottom. Um, wow. So this one was such a really good talk with you, Chris. Really, really, really
Absolutely.
good.
I loved it. Yeah.
I love the energy. I know we're gonna be collaborating, and I know it. I feel it,
Beautiful.
and even this is a collaboration right now.
Yeah.
Just talking. We need to all of us talk about this
Yeah.
and inspired, and people, and that's what we're here for, and just to be of service. Again, thanks so much for taking time to do this with
Yeah.
me. And
Thank
anything
you.
else you I always ask my guests and a question at the end. It's in one of those questions that I came up with. I'm like,
Yeah.
if you're giving one of those speeches in front of like all these graduate students that are just not graduating from high school into college and their lives, what is the one thing you would tell them? What would you tell them? What kind of advice, or what kind of, would you give them?
Follow what gives you joy. Follow your creative hunches, and don't try to control it. Just follow it one step at a time. See where it leads you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah. So
nice.
don't hold back. Like, this is exciting for me. I'm going to follow this. This is exciting for me, and then take inspired action on it, and get an intuition. Take inspired action. Yeah.
They can, so basically follow your highest excitement.
Follow your highest excitement. Yeah.
Nice. I love that, man. I love that. Right
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
Again, Chris, thanks so much for your time. And
Thanks so much, Gustavo. Yeah.
well,
Appreciate it. So
well,
good.
again, thank you for being in my humble little podcast. Into the flow. We gotta stay into the flow here, and we'll have the information about how you can get a hold of Chris and take some of his courses. I want to take one of your courses, so we'll be talking, man.
We'll talk. We'll talk. Yeah.
I want to take one of your classes or your workshops, and I want to for sure. Okay, again, thanks
Perfect.
so much. I appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Gustavo. So
All right,
good. Awesome. Connect
let's keep in
soon.
touch. All right,
Thanks so
peace.
much, bro. See ya. Bye. Peace. See ya.
Okay.